Shalom, shalom, Israel. First off, giving all praises to Yahweh and to his son Yahushua. We're Battle Axes of the Most High, coming to you with another Sabbath class. Shalom to brothers and sisters that's online watching. Today's class is a mind well instructed. A mind well instructed. Like we was talking with brothers and sisters in congregation. I know this class is mainly aimed at the sisters. It's mainly aimed at the sisters and mainly going into marriage as well. It's like we were saying, during these end times, spirits will be moving, spirits will be jumping, spirits will try to get on you to guess what cause confusion up in the households. We know that the sisters are the weaker vessels, so we want to make sure that guess what sisters are applying the scriptures to guess what help build themselves up in these last days. Help build them up and guess what? Foresee these spirits that be on people. So guess what? You can make the proper adjustments that you can put on and pray for the Holy Spirit of discipline. Because these things try to bring disorder in marriages and so forth. It could cause the whole house to be out of order. So we kind of want to go through this class. All praise, we pray that brothers and sisters get edified in this thing too. First scripture we're going to go to is, give me the book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 1. Because we tell the sisters all the time, the scriptures to read that y'all should constantly be meditating on is Sirach chapter 25 and Sirach chapter 26. Those are the classes sisters need to kind of read day in and day out. Really meditate, really go through there on your own and precept those things. And guess what? See how our foremothers handled and dealt in the truth. We're going to go through a lot of these things today. Read that right quick, though.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 1. In three things I was brutified and stood up beautiful, both before God and men.
So it says in three things are we beautified before God and men. Read on up.
The unity of brethren.
This is the first thing that guess what we're commanded to be beautified in. The unity of brethren. Brothers and sisters that are sowing discourse among each other, guess what? That's an ugly thing to the Most High God. Brothers got to shake that spirit. Sisters have to shake that spirit. Because the Most High God is working His spirit upon us to guess what? Organize the people to come together in different congregations, in different camps. But you want to make sure that you have unity in that camp. Read on.
The love of neighbors.
The love of neighbors. Because guess what? Your neighbor is your brother that guess what is not always close to you. Your brothers from other camps, sisters from other camps. Yeah, they're in other camps, you know, but guess what? It's our job and we're commanded to love them according to thus said the Lord. And it don't mean that we're not going to correct brothers. And we always say we got to always throw that out there as a disclaimer. Because guess what? If brothers is going off, it's not grudging, it's correcting. Read on.
A man and a wife that agree together.
Read this last part again.
A man and a wife that agree together.
That's the part that we want to focus on and meditate on. This is one of the main things that is beautified both before man and the Most High God. Is a man and a woman that agree together. Because how many times have you seen in the households things out of order? The man is out of order. The wife is out of order. We see it throughout TV. We see it throughout, guess what, our society. Especially in our society among blacks and Hispanics. We see these things, man. Things are out of order. Yeah, they may be together, but guess what? It's dysfunction up in the house. Woman trying to rule the house and the man is taking the background. But the Most High God is not dealing in that type of spirit. The Most High God is raising up righteous brothers and righteous sisters and trying to put things back in their proper order, brothers and sisters. So it says, read that last part again.
A man and a wife that agree together.
And that's something brothers and sisters got to constantly meditate on. Even for the single sisters. You know, because guess what? Lord's will, the Most High God provides you with a husband. These are the things that guess what you have to be able to get in order. Setting these things all right, getting your mind and getting your spirit prepared for these things beforehand. Give me Sirach chapter 7 and verse 26. It says a man and a wife that agree together. So meaning what? They have to be on one accord. Meaning what? They have to have the same thought process. A lot of times, brothers and sisters, now I got my own mind. That's not according to the scriptures. That's according to Esau. Esau gives our sisters this power in a society where they can think that I'm an independent woman. I'm a strong black woman. I'm a strong Hispanic woman. They don't put these types of stereotypes and stigmas on the Korean woman, the East Indian woman, the Arab woman, or even Esau. Esau even knows ultimately to get in order with their nation. Everything works in balance. Read that up.
The book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 26. Has thy wife after thy mind?
It says, how's that a wife after thy own mind? That's something brothers and sisters got to meditate on, man. Do you have a spouse? Do you have a wife? Do you have a husband that has the same thinking as you? A lot of times people we thinking, no, I got my own thoughts. I'm different. That's not what the scriptures say. You want to have a wife that is thinking on one accord with you, knowing what you're going to think, knowing what you're going to do, even sometimes before you do that thing. This is how we get marriages back in order. A wife seeing how her husband is, how he likes certain things, how he like his meal prepared, how he like, guess what, things arranged in the house and so forth. These are things, these are qualities that sisters have to learn to be able to put on. Because I forgot to add that as a disclaimer. We got the modern women today versus the biblical women today. And we see these things throughout all these things. You got some up? Got some? Read that again from the top.
Has thy wife after thy mind?
So the modern woman today has the what? The mindset. I got my own mind. I do what I want to do. No one tells me what to do. Even single sisters have heads, basically, or brothers to look after them. To guess what? Guide them through the scriptures when they have certain questions about things. These things are very, very important. And guess what? That's a practice for when, guess what, she do find a husband. So you can already have these things in line, man. And not, guess what, trying to get these things in order when it's too late. I mean, it's too late. That's why we constantly tell brothers and sisters what? Prove a friend. Prove a friend, man. Read verse 26 again.
Has thy wife after thy mind? Forsake her not.
The Bible says forsake her not. Because when you got a wife that's thinking like you, guess what? That is a good thing to behold, man. Meaning y'all are one accord. That means what? It's less arguments up in the house. Go ahead, up. No, go ahead. Read on.
But give not thyself over to a light woman.
But don't give yourself over to a light woman, meaning a sister that's, guess what, is not thinking. That's, guess what, is not grounded in the scriptures. That don't know and have a little bit of understanding of the scriptures, or not applying the scriptures to their everyday life. Because we know a lot of times, sometimes we have to get on sisters, because we know sometimes sisters are not diligent enough to read in the scriptures. We get on brothers too as well. But I know today is mainly going at the sisters. If you're not reading your Bible, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook more than you reading your scriptures, that's something wrong. Because guess what? That's not giving you that time to build up your spirit. It's something wrong. You have to be able to check those things, man. You all on Facebook smiling, taking pictures and so forth. Guess what? That's the time you can take to read Sirach chapter 26 to, guess what, build your spirit up. Because sisters need that thing built up in the spirit. It's going to be all types of wows to come at brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, a lot of times we be on Facebook doing that, looking for approval from people that ain't even in the truth, or somebody just saying all kind of stuff. Forget that approval. Go let somebody that pull the scriptures on you and use the scriptures, not just Facebook. But I think, who cares what they think? That's what a lot of times he's saying, man, stay away from those and get your mind straight by coming and getting in this word, man.
That's right. Read that again from the top. Huh?
The book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 26. Has thy wife after thy mind?
That's a great thing, brothers and sisters. Constantly, when you proving brothers and sisters, you want to make sure that our mindset is lining up with your mindset. That's why we tell brothers and sisters, take your time when you proving brothers and sisters, so you can find out things about them that agree with your spirit, that agree with the spirit of the Bible. Then you find out that, guess what, you have less problems when you go through the marriage transition. Things you're not catching things unexpected. Oh, okay, she's diligent here while she was trying to find a husband, or he's diligent while he was trying to find a wife. But now that they're up in that household, guess what? You got monsters up in the household. These are things that, guess what, brothers and sisters got to constantly check their spirit on, man. Read on, huh?
Forsake her not.
Forsake that thing not, man, because a lot of sisters' mindset is not according to the Bible, and it's damn sure not according to their husband. Even sisters in the truth, they struggle with that thing, man. They be in class, shalom, but then go home, monsters up in the house. Not agreeing, not going to the scriptures, not willing to be taught by their husbands, not even reading the scriptures on their own, man. That's a beautiful thing when you got a sister that's staying in the scriptures, man. A beautiful thing. That means, guess what? She ain't got time to be caught up with the wiles of the devil. Read on.
But give not thyself over to a light woman.
So you don't want to give yourself over to a light woman. Give me Sirach chapter 6, verse 7.
I was just going to go into it.
What's the spirit? These are the scriptures that we always have to bring out when we're dealing with marriage. Like we say, it's scriptures for the sisters. Make sure y'all take notes. Brothers, make sure y'all take notes as well. Because these are the scriptures that help guide your wife in this truth. The sisters do need to be taught. Read this, huh?
The book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first.
So if you would get a friend, it's not only talking about marriage, but it's also talking about, guess what? The people you hang around. Thanks, huh? Guess what? You got to constantly be proven, brothers and sisters, man. Because with spirits jumping constantly, brothers and sisters, spirit change like the moon around here, man. Got a good spirit this one day, got a bad spirit the next day. You want to constantly be on a diligent foundation, man. And you want to constantly be growing in this truth, man. Constantly, man. So every day that the Most High God put breath in you, it's a day to, guess what, grow and be better in this truth, man. Read that again from the top. You got something? Read that again from the top.
The book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first.
So we got to prove, brothers and sisters. Brothers, you have to prove a wife. Sisters, you have to prove a brother you thinking about wanting to marry. It's no way around it, man. Because guess what? The more you prove what, the less problems you have up in that household, man. Hey, we done seen it. No, brother and sister done dealt in that thing. These are learning experiences, man, that brothers got to go through. That's the conditions of the battle, man. And it gets harder when our brothers and sisters are rebellious and don't adhere to the scriptures, man. Read on, God.
And be not hasty to credit him.
Be not hasty to, guess what, credit him. I mean, go in his background. Ask around. Ask leadership. Brothers, what is this brother like? Brothers, what is this sister like? Is her spirit lining up? Do you see sister being diligent? Guess what? She stand in the word. Does she answer questions in class or after class like you? These are things that, guess what, brothers and sisters got to think upon in reverence, man. Because it's hard to find a sister with this type of spirit, man. That thing is hard as hell, man. And we're going to show some of these videos too, man. Give me Sirach chapter 26, verse 14.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 14. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord.
Read that again, Al.
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord.
The scripture says a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. Now, sisters can take this and be sarcastic if you want to and say, well, that means never talk. Yes, sisters, don't never talk again then, if you want to take it sarcastically. But the scriptures is saying a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. Know when to say something, know when not to say something. Have discretion. Have discernment, especially when you're dealing with your husband, because it may be certain things that he do that, guess what, you don't agree with, but guess what? You got to stay in order. There's no way around it. You have to stay in order, man. These are things that, guess what, sisters got to read and meditate on. They read it, but then they don't meditate on that thing and think with reverence upon that thing, and then really don't apply, because it's easy to apply when it's good for you. But the thing that sisters got to learn is, guess what, you got to apply it when it don't benefit you at that time. When, guess what, it's in a hard position, like, dang, when your back is against the ground. That's the time that, guess what, adversity is gonna come upon you, man. You not try when everything is easy. You try when adversity is upon you. And adversity may be what? An argument. Whether you're gonna take it to the 10th power or guess what? Hold your damn peace. Be a silent and loving woman. Go ahead. Read that again.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 14. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. And there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
And there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. It's nothing like having a wife that's first on one accord with you, that's thinking the way that you do, but it's nothing like a wife that, guess what, has the ability to listen and to be taught. Because what? First thing they always say, nigga, you can't tell me nothing. Nigga, you better not even fix your lips to tell me nothing, nigga. And it said just like that. And guess what? I'll square up with your behind too. And a fight come with it, nigga. Kick out them slides, hey. Take out them butterfly eyelashes, say. And they ready to come on with it. Because that's the spirit that Esau is putting on them, man. That spirit is contrary to what the scriptures gives us. Sisters got to be able to check that type of spirit, man. That's where you got to pray for the Holy Spirit of discipline. You got somebody right here? It says, a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. You know, we really gonna cover a lot of this chapter in Sirach chapter 25. Matter of fact, give me that. Give me Sirach chapter 25 and verse 8.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 8. Well is him that dwelleth with a wife of understanding.
It says, well is him that dwelleth with a wife of understanding. A lot of times, guess what? Brothers and sisters be sorrow of spirit because guess what? Wife not in order or husband not in order. That can cause a sorrow, depression. Guess what, man? You want to get these things in line, man. Because these things can make brothers, these things can deplete people's spirits, man. Especially when you're dealing with brothers and sisters that have been in the truth for 3 and 4 years. You've been in the truth at least 3 or 4 years. Guess what? You should be growing in these things, man. You shouldn't be having some of the same problems that you have up in the household. Because we know a lot of times the main problems that come up is what, brothers? What are the main 2 problems that come up in the household?
Money.
And what else?
Children.
And what else?
Bills.
Yeah, going into money. Yeah, that's right.
So
money, God in the household, money, children, and sex.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times these things come up. Those are some of the main things. Because we know a lot of times, like we say, a lot of times sisters have been programmed to do what? Use sex as a weapon. Mm-hmm. But the Bible don't adhere to that. Sometimes brothers do that thing too, though. Yeah. You know, brothers do that thing too, trying to hold off from your wife. No, brothers, that's not according to the scriptures, man. Oh. That is all. Go ahead, Jerubbaal.
Yeah. And just like I was saying, like when you look at it on the hindsight, when you dealing in that type of spirit, you deal it accordingly, man. And just like I was saying, the main 2 things was money and it is sex. Because sex is also going into infidelity.
That's right.
All those things go one and the same. Because just like a brother, you just thinking about sister called a brother and who that on the phone? Sister, man, I'm here trying to go through the precepts, man. Well, you ain't teaching me nothing. Because sometimes brothers don't be in the house teaching nothing. We got to learn how to shake out and check our spirits, man. Because the Most High God watching that thing. Go ahead, Doc.
Go ahead, Doc. Oh, yeah. Read on, Doc.
And that had not slipped with his tongue.
And had not slipped with his tongue or her tongue.
With his tongue.
Because guess what? A lot of times, arguments coming as what? The slip of the tongue. Sister saying things out of order. You'll get a B. You know, we got to keep it PG. B-A nigga. Just with the slip of the tongue, man. Easily, man. Read on up. Go ahead, up. You want to read the whole thing. Read on up.
And that has not served a man more unworthy than himself.
And that had not served a man more unworthy than himself. Because, hey, the Most High God can give you a wicked nigga out here, man. Which would you rather have? You would rather have a brother that's trying to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, not smoking weed, not selling drugs. That's, guess what? Got a 9 to 5. Why not be in submission to a righteous brother? What would be the problem? Brother that's not beating on you, that's not talking down on you, but just literally, guess what? Have your best interest at heart. What would be wrong with being submissive to a brother like that? Guess what? That's the philosophies of Esau. You got them always in the back of your head. He told me I can do this. But no, what do the scriptures say? What do the Most High God tell you to do? Go ahead, Al.
Two things in this scripture, and that have not slipped with his tongue. Isaiah 54 right quick. Because you have to be able to understand what situation is occurring at that time. The Most High give us the tongue of the learned, man. And if we can't observe times and seasons, which is leading up to spiritual discernment, it is always gonna be chaos. Like I said, the number one thing when you're dealing with money, what is it? An argument. When you're dealing with sex, is what? An argument. When you're dealing with the children, oh, you beating for it's an argument. But it's the tongue of the learned that men and women gotta have. Women gotta know. Guess what? Sometimes you don't go there. Like I said, you call that man a BAN and shit. He ain't never been called it before in his life. And ain't gonna let you or nobody else talk to him like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's the kind of man you want, because at the end of the scripture right quick it says, nor a man that has served a man more unworthy than himself. Brothers, ain't no weak, and we can't be no weak. Women don't want no weak brother either. Ain't no serving no man, bro. I see it a lot, man. Men pleasers.
That's right.
Men pleasing men. Nah, man, you gotta make sure you please your wife, man, because she's looking for you to lead, but you gotta be that leader in all aspects. How you gonna be her leader, but you got another man leading you? And when I say that, I mean leading you in your household. Come on, man. Nah, ain't nobody talking to me about what me and my wife doing in the Nah, we gonna get to the scriptures, but yeah, sometimes, man, it's heavy. Go ahead, like we gonna pull that, but go ahead.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like what they're saying, the man done come off from work. He just got through serving his enemy all day long, and then he come home and he don't. That's the thing. He don't. It's like I just served the man that's unworthy than myself.
Right.
And then I got to come home. Now I got to hear this, and that's what he's saying. That's what they're saying. You got to consider the fact he just got off the slave plantation. And we got women that work too, so men got to consider that also.
I'm glad that Captain Maccabee said it, because these are things that, guess what, sisters should know about their husbands. You know if you got a husband that like to talk, and you know if you got a quiet husband. So when a husband get home from work and you up in there running your mouth, give the brother some peace. Give him some peace, man.
Right. Real quick.
Give him some peace a little bit.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Real quick, Sirach 28 and 12, write that down. This is a well-known precept. If thou blow the spark, it shall burn. If thou spit upon it, it shall be quenched. And both these come out of thy mouth. Like I said, man, get home from work, you already know, like I just said, he comes serving a man unworthy than himself. We already in captivity. And you want to round about the first, as soon as he open the door. It's going to be a problem. You going to blow on that spark. You done blow on that spark. And it's a fire now. I'm trying to come in this door and get a little peace. But you gonna blow on that spark and make this thing a whole California fire. You know what I'm saying? That if thou blow on the spark, it shall burn, man. Now read the Isaiah 54.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 50, verse 4. The Lord God has given me the tongue of the learned.
The tongue of the learned, women and men. Know when and when not to bring up situations and certain things, man.
That's right.
I used to see that all the time. Now I'm gonna wait. My granny used to be told to talk to her husband, my grandfather, and she'd be like, nah, I'm gonna wait. I ain't gonna say nothing right now. You gotta have the tongue of the learned to know when and when not to blow on that spark. Let that spark die down. And you see the brother's captain. Brother walk in, got the little drawn eye. You know how you draw a face, an angry face, he got all this up there. You see every one of them rolls in the top of his head. You can count them out. Hey, bro, you got 17 rolls? Yeah, 17. But after you see that count and stuff fell down, and it's a little piece now, okay, maybe then you can say that. But we gotta know that the Lord give us the tongue of learn. This is going into a spiritual discernment, man. How you get spiritual discernment? By keeping yourself in the spirit, man.
That's right.
And brothers and sisters out of the spirit, no, you're not gonna have the tongue of the learn. No, you're not gonna have the tongue of the discipline either. You're gonna go blowing that spark when it's not time to blow that spark. Read on.
That I should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary.
He give us the tongue of land that we should know how. Come on, man. Brothers and sisters. We know when and when not to say stuff. Stop playing. But sometimes we be so upset. This thing ain't got me messed up. I'm gonna say something, even though I know he upset. I know he tired. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Have the tongue of the learned, knowing when to speak a good word in season.
That's right. And we're going to get a prime example of that. Give me 1 Samuel chapter 25 and verse 3. To the sister Abigail.
And then, like I'm saying, okay, you know on your husband that, okay, I can't talk to him when he first gets home. But husband can't be so tough to the point that you can't say nothing. Now, she can't say nothing to me all evening.
Yeah, for real.
Come on now. We can't do that. It's got to be a just wait, man.
That's right.
And like it said, a word in season to him that is weary. Brothers be weary, man. Tired of working them 12-hour jobs, man. Tired of throwing that trash every day. Tired of riding that forklift every day. Tired of kissing these other nations' butt, man, when they supposed to be doing this thing for us. Have never speaking a good word to a brother that's weary or sister that's weary too at the same time. It go both ways, man, hand in hand.
It does. 1 Samuel, because this going to our point. I gave it out. 1 Samuel chapter 25 and verse 3.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 25 verse 3. Now the name of the man was Nabal, in the name of his wife Abigail.
Nabal was wicked as hell. Read on.
And she was a woman of good understanding.
Now he had a wife that had a good understanding. Meaning she was diligent in the scriptures and guess what? Knew the word. Read on.
And of a beautiful countenance.
And of a beautiful countenance. It's not just good enough that a sister is nice looking. Sister needs to have some understanding, man. Because guess what? Looks can only go so far. Guess what? You getting old, them wrinkles start, them hips start to sag a little bit. Hey, that beauty depletes a little bit. But if you got a wife that has understanding, she always gonna look beautiful to that husband, man. She gonna always look beautiful. Like, dang, she looked like the same when I first met her, man. Because guess what? She has a mind well instructed. She listens to the things that I say, and guess what? She does them. She doesn't. Read on.
But the man was churlish and evil in his doings. And he was of the house of Caleb.
Of the house of Caleb. Giving Caleb a bad name, man. For real, man. It just pissed me off even reading that, man. I know Caleb. Jump down to verse 13. So we're going to Nabal and Abigail. This is during the time of King David. King David was out riding. Read this out.
In the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 25, verse 13.
I'm gonna let me see. Yeah, read verse 13.
And David said unto his men, gird ye on every man his sword. And they girded on every man his sword. And David also girded on his sword. And there went up after David about 400 men, and 200 abode by the staff.
What you want, Jerubbaal, verse 10?
Man, you got to get more context in this.
Jump to verse 7.
Verse 7.
Jump to verse 5.
You don't read that whole thing.
Read verse 5.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 25, verse 5. And David sent out 10 young men. And David said unto the young men, get ye up to Carmel, and go to Nabal and greet him in my name.
So he sent messengers out to greet Nabal in his name. Read on.
And thus shall ye say to him that liveth in prosperity.
Because they was living in prosperity. He had a nice job. He had plenty of money, plenty of resources on his land. Read on.
Peace be both to thee, and peace be to thine house, and peace be unto all that thou hast.
So guess what? David came and showed respect unto his brother. Read on.
And now I have heard that thou hast shearers. Now thy shepherds which were with us, we hurt them not. Neither was there aught missing unto them.
So meaning David didn't take anything from him without getting a permission. Read on.
All the while they were in Carmel, asking thy young men, and they will show thee. Wherefore, let the young men find favor in thine eyes, for we come in a good day. Give, I pray thee, whatsoever cometh to thine hand unto thy servant.
So he's asking, David needed some things from this brother. Read on.
into thy son David.
Uh-huh.
And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all those words in the name of David and ceased.
Read on.
And Nabal answered David's servants and said, Who is David?
Who is this nigga? Who is David? But David was a warrior and a straight killer, man. Like, you got to understand and know who you dealing with. Read on.
And who is the son of Jesse?
And who is the son of Jesse? Like, I don't know him. Knowing damn well he knew David.
Yeah,
His name rang throughout all Israel, throughout all that area. Go ahead, up.
But if you notice it, they ain't said nothing about Jesse. Nabal the one that said, who is the son of Jesse?
So he already knew. He was just being a smart at it. He knew. First of all, he was an Israelite. He knew the history. He knew David because they was all together. And then he's saying this. That's what happens with people when they get money too.
That's right. Read on up.
There be many servants nowadays. They break away every man from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my sure, and give it unto men?
So shall I take all my stuff and give it unto you, David? Read on.
Hold on. What law was that break it? He just broke a law.
What is that? Y'all brothers should know that. We quote that all the time. Yeah, you can go into that one, but it's a specific
law. This is why. This is the whole thing what's going into Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 35. It's going into the same thing, man. That's why he said, it's many servants that break away from their master. But this wasn't what that was going into, man. He knew King David, man. Read that right quick.
The book of Leviticus chapter 25 verse 35. And if thy brother be waxing poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt then thou shalt relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger of or a sojourner, that he may live with thee.
Read.
Take thou no usury of him or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee.
So basically, this is, if you read on down in Leviticus chapter 25 and start at verse 35, it's giving us a better it'll give us a more better understanding. Like if your brothers and sisters was waxing poor, they can come into your land. Like say for instance, I'm a Judite, if I go to the Benjamite land, I can go work for them and I can go make money. And then after 7 years, I can go and I can leave with substance and I can be back on my feet. So that was one of the things that we was commanded to do, to help each other out. So just like when King David was going to try to get the help from his brethren been supposed to have been helped out. But what he said, who is this man? I don't know him. Brother was going into sin because he wasn't willing to help his brother.
Let's go back to 1 Samuel chapter 25 and start at verse 11.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 25 verse 11. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my sure, and give it unto men whom I know not whence they be?
Read on.
So David's young men turned their way and went again and came and told him all those things.
So David's servants went back and told David what Nabal had said. Read on.
And David said unto the men, and David said unto his men, gird ye on every man his sword.
Same today. Hey, strap up. Come on, we got to go see about this brother, man. This is what David is saying. Gird ye every man his sword. Get on the horses. Grab the swords. We finna go see about Nabal, man. Read on.
And they girded on every man his sword. And David also girded on his sword. And there went up after David about 400 men.
So David was riding deep. Read on.
And 200 abode by the stuff. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife.
But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife. Read on.
Saying, behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master. And he railed on them.
Meaning he talked down on David. That's what railed means. He went against David, talking down on him, slandering him, and so forth. Read on up.
But the men were very good unto us.
And he's telling them, the men, they came unto us with respect. Read on.
And we were not hurt.
And we were not hurt. They didn't do us no harm. Read on.
neither missed we anything.
Read on now.
As long as we were conversant with them when we were in the field, they were a wall unto us, both by night and day. All the while we were with them, keeping the sheep.
Read on now. Jump down. Yeah, keep reading.
Now therefore, know and consider what thou wilt do, for evil is determined against our master.
Because like I said, the brother had went into what? Into sin. Read on.
And against all his household.
And against all his household. Read on.
For he is such a son of Belial, that a man cannot speak to him.
Guess what? Going into the devil. This Negro was the devil. Read on.
Then Abigail made haste.
Then guess what? A sister with what? Understanding made haste, because guess what? She knew who King David was. She understood that, like, dang, my husband was out of order. Hey, let me try to hurry up and make it right. But she did it with understanding, though. Read on.
And took 200 loaves and 2 bottles of wine and 5 sheep ready dressed and 5 measures of parched corn and 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on asses. And laid them on asses.
And laid them on asses, because guess what? She was going to take it to David so he could spare their lives. Read on.
And she said unto her servant, Go on before me. Behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband of all. And it was so, as she rode on the ass, that same came down by the covert of the hill. And behold, David and his men came down against her, and she met them.
Read on.
Now David had said, Surely in vain have I kept all that his fellow had in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that pertained unto him. And he had requited me with evil for good.
So she's talking to him, and David told her, like, your husband was dealing wickedly with me. Read on.
So the more also do God unto the enemies of David. If I leave of all,
and he broke the commandment.
And he talking about all, he gonna kill all the men. Because he said, any one of them, whoever pit against the wall, which is what men do. He said, I'm getting all of them.
Jump down to verse 23, because we got a lot to cover. Jump down to 23.
Verse 23. When Abigail saw David, she hasted and lighted off the ass and fell before David on her face and bowed herself to the ground. And fell at his feet and said, Upon me, O Lord, upon me, let this
read that
be.
again. Take your time, start from verse 24 again.
Verse 24. And fell at his feet and said, Upon me, O Lord.
My Lord.
Oh, Shalaki. Upon me, my Lord. Upon me, let this iniquity be.
So she came to David, and guess what? Let this fault be upon me. Let it be upon me. I'll take it for that. That's a sister of understanding. Right. Even when she came, she was sparing, and she know the type of husband that she got. Negro talking and can't never bag nothing up. So guess what? I got to help out so we can spare our lives in this thing. Let me make these things right. Let me gather these groceries. Let me get these resources real quick. Read on. You got something? Read on.
And let thine handmaid pray thee, I pray thee, speak in thine audience, and hear the word of thine handmaid.
So even going back to the point that Captain Yari had made, it's good to know when to speak a word in season. This was a word spoken in season, because if she hadn't said nothing, guess what? They could have all been put to death. So you want a wife like this. Even when you read on, Nabal got put to death, and guess what? She became King David's wife. Give me Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 22.
That's a good story for sisters to be reading too. That ain't a good story for y'all to read.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 22. Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance.
And that's what our people do today, especially in marriages. Great war of ignorance, because you got unnecessary bickering and wars between husbands and wives. Read on.
Those so great plagues called they ignorant. Salaki. Those so great plagues called they peace.
Read on.
For while they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revealings of strange rites.
Going into the wickedness that our people participated in from dealing in idols as well. This is the context. But I want some out of this. Read on.
They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled.
They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled. And this is what we come into today. Marriages are defiled. It's so easy for a brother to, guess what, commit adultery against his wife. And guess what? No consequences for these things. Got brothers allowing these things. And we talking about, guess what, even in the truth, man. Because the only way that you can divorce your wife is from what, brothers? Fornication. And that's thus said the Lord Christ, man. Mm-hmm. You can't go to no other scriptures pulling this, pulling that, saying that, guess what, this is justified in this divorce. If that brother didn't commit fornication or that sister didn't commit fornication, they got to deal with that thing, man. Mm-hmm. You got to try to make that thing right. Separate for a time. Get it right. Then come back together. But you can't justify a brother leaving his wife, divorcing his wife. We got to prove that too, man. Give me Matthew chapter 19 real quick. Yeah, we always gonna go back. We just go back. Matthew chapter 19 and verse, we're gonna get to the point, verse 7.
The book of Matthew chapter 19, verse 7. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a written of divorce,
a writing
of divorcement, and to put her away?
So guess what? During the Old Testament, guess what? The Most High God allowed us to, guess what, put away our wives for certain things, different things. But they ultimately abused that thing. So it was either or. The Most High God let them do that because he was gonna have to kill them, and then he instituted divorce. But read on.
Verse 15.
Verse 8.
Verse 8. He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives.
So Moses suffered that thing for them to put away their wives. But Christ has given us the understanding. When there's ever a discrepancy in the law, who do we always go to? Christ. Always go to Christ. Because he's the what? The master teacher. Read on.
But from the
go ahead.
He is the word of the Most High.
That's right.
So he outshadows every prophet because he's literally the word of the Most High God. Go ahead,
But from the beginning it was not so.
Read verse 8 again.
He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives.
So he suffered them to put away his wives. Read on.
But from the beginning it was not so.
That's the point right there. But from the beginning mean what? From the time of Genesis, it was not so. What was not so? What's the point? Divorce. From the beginning, it was no such thing as divorce. This is what Christ has given us the understanding of. Read on.
Verse 9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication.
Now, this is plain upon tables. This is very clear. Read that again.
And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and she shall marry another.
And shall
marry another, committed adultery.
So it says, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, doing what? Committing adultery. There's no grounds for divorcement except for fornication and adultery. Read on.
And whoso married her, which is put away, does commit adultery.
And guess what? When you fall into these things, guess what? That adds sin upon sin. So this is going into the fouling of marriages and so forth. Going back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 24.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 24. They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled.
And our people deal in these things today. We got one of the highest divorce rates among the races, so-called blacks. Read on.
But either one slew another treacherously or grieved him by adultery.
Read on.
so that there reign in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft, indissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury, disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good terms, defiling of souls, changing of kinds, disorder in marriage.
You know that's the part we want to focus on, disorder in marriages. All these things come about going into idolatry and idols and so forth. But this is the result of these things, disorder in marriages. Sisters not knowing their roles to play, husbands not knowing their roles to play. I just did a class over these things, constantly bringing these things out to kind of put brothers and sisters in the spirit. Know your role, play your part. We have to do these things, man. That's why these things is all out of order. Read on.
Adultery and shameless uncleanliness.
And shameless uncleanliness. Any brother got something? Because I want brothers and sisters to see this. I know brothers have been, and I know sisters have been seeing this lately with the brother Kevin Samuels. I know our brothers and sisters probably have heard, seen him on YouTube and so forth. He's been going at the sisters, man, but guess what? He's been bringing correction. And a brother, like I say, what's the scripture? I'm quoting it. That he know a little bit of something about the truth. He got a zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. Thanks, he got a zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. Because he been getting flat, because guess what? He been correcting the sisters. He been getting, hey, and it's like, if y'all don't want the correction, why even go on there? Because you know how the brother gonna deal. I want y'all to listen to this for a little bit. It won't be too long. This sister, she's like a fun girl, what they call today for basically a whore.
Exactly. So selfish. So you said I didn't want children. You notice I keyed on that because I'm like, oh, that's selfish. Yeah, most of them don't want children because I don't want to risk my body. I don't want to, my life, my career, and this, that, whatever. Talk about you.
So she said that she didn't want children. Now, is that according to the scriptures? No, that's not. But that's what Esau puts out there to our sisters. Chase your career. Do this, do that. But according to the Bible, guess what? A husband was a career. Not saying that sisters couldn't have jobs also, because that's what you go into what? Proverbs 31, a virtuous woman. She's guiding the house, and she, guess what? She do other things too. She working well with her hands. Meaning she got businesses going on to help provide for her husband and her family. Give me this in 1 Timothy. The sister said she did, and that's selfish, and he getting on it. And sister already knew. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 14.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 14. I will therefore that the younger woman marry.
It says, I would therefore that the younger women marry. So this was known in Israel. Sisters were groomed up. Guess what? They would already be promised to a certain brother. So guess what? We can make our nation strong. Strong marriages make for what? A strong nation, man. Read on out.
Bear children.
Marry, bear children. So she's saying that, guess what? She didn't want to bear children. Because guess what? She wanted to live the life of a fun girl. Do what she wanted to do. Have no reins. Have no correction. Have no guide. Read on.
Guide the house. Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
It says, I would therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, and give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Going into what? The devil. Knowing if your wife is in total submission, that guess what? He can't wow her to, guess what? Bring confusion up in the house to where you're not getting corrected and so forth.
And this was a plan. That's what we got to understand. This white man planned that a long time ago. He stopped, got women thinking about their careers. They don't get married at a young age. when marriage was made for a young age woman at that time, so you can bear children and have children and grow a whole family. Now people wait. Well, now we have them out of wedlock now, but that's not how he planned. You were supposed to be getting a husband. They're supposed to have been in order. They got us out of order. Now we used to the order that they given us. So when you hear the truth, it's like, whoa. It makes it sound the truth is strange. No, the truth ain't strange. What the new stuff they gave us is strange.
That's right.
That's not the Most High. And we got to get out of the way the world was doing it and go back to the way God had this plan.
That's right.
And that the kind of men that are intimidated or whatever, that's just whatever you classify.
Put that microphone up too.
Yeah.
They want something else. They want feminine, beautiful, inspirational, providence, submissive.
And he said it. They want feminine, submissive women. Guess what? We have the total opposite. Masculine, hey, not trying to hear nothing, sisters.
So I would ask the question, after you get married, you want to have children, and afterwards you want to work. You just now want children. So when you want the power couple thing?
Yeah, I mean, I really, having kids is me being selfish, but also I want to really take care of my husband. Like, I want him to have 100% of me when we're at that point.
She said she really want to take care of her husband. When a woman had, from the beginning, when a woman had a husband, that's her main thing was to want to have a child by her husband. Why you think the women wanted to have a husband by a child? I mean, want to have a child by a husband so bad to the point, if she couldn't have it, what she would do? She would give her a handmaid. So that's not pleasing. Every man wants, just like a woman wants a child, a man wants a child too.
That's right. To leave an inheritance. That's right.
But that was the key point. We gonna lose focus on that. But every man wants to have a child. They want to have the same thing. Don't think that men don't want to have children. Y'all think we don't want to have children? Yeah, we want to have. We want to see our seed grow too.
Want a legacy behind, something to leave behind.
That's right. And something to keep this truth going, man.
Big corn.
I get it. But what happened? I get it. But that's what you. What about what he wants? Okay, that's
the thing.
How much money would you want your husband to give you?
Because I know a lot of times sisters get caught up in what they want, but what do the scriptures say? That's where we got to go to the scriptures. Give me Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. And I know a lot of times sisters don't like this scripture.
Because it's the order of everything, man.
Because it's, like I said, it's order that comes behind that.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow in thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
And thy desire shall be what? To thy husband. Thy desire shall be to thy husband. So guess what? Sisters coming back into the truth should want what? What their husbands want. According to the scriptures. You know, a lot of times that's something sisters got to meditate on, man. We know it. Because we know, hey, 30, 40 some years in the world. Now, guess what? You coming back to the truth. Hey, man, that sounds like slavery. That sounds like the old days. And guess what? Having a modern woman's mindset, it sounds, guess what? Nice to you. Guess what? I can do this. They doing this. Well, I got to do that. But they don't understand that. Guess what? Y'all worshiping the Most High God. They not.
Yep.
Their life is going to be death, hell, and destruction. Y'all is going to be, guess what? Servants and handmaids in the kingdom.
And before the feminist movement came in, before they started, women, y'all black women do this, y'all just start doing like that. We didn't have problems in the black community. Children were not killing children. Black community, there was no black on black crimes, stuff like that. There was a father at the house. The men grew up to be men, not effeminate. It all became, just got to understand, it was a system set up against us. This same devil that brought us in across that sea and put us in slavery is the same one that's making these rules up as we go along. A lot of times we think that those are our ideas. No, they're not. They were put in it. There
That's
was
right.
a system that was set up by our enemies.
That's right.
And that's when we got to understand and go, okay, hold on. If I'm going to defeat my enemy, you got to learn what he's done and take and go back into God's word, because he tell you how it used to work. It was an order, and this is how it was. Black people was better off until, guess what? The integration of each other. When they integrated us, that was so they can get in and change the natural order of things.
That's right. Read that last part out.
And he shall rule over thee.
Read that again out.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband,
Uh-huh.
and he shall rule over thee.
And he shall rule over thee, not in wickedness, but in what? In righteousness. Not telling sisters, hey, find you some wicked Negro that's got his foot on. No. Sisters are not slaves. It's not, it's just the order. So even brothers have to know that, not to rule your house like a lion. She is not your slave. But guess what? Sisters have to be in order according to the scriptures. Give me Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. What? Oh, yeah, you know. Yeah, you know, I'm going to go back to you. I already got it.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that a man should be alone.
Uh-huh.
I will make him and help me for him.
It's not good that man should be alone. So the Most High God created the woman to be what?
And
a
help
help
me.
meet unto him. A help that's meet just for him. Sisters are helps up in the house. Help, guess what? Guide the children. Help things around the house. Help brothers, guess what? Bring out this truth. Guess what? Be a consoler to brothers. Because guess what? You know it's hard in this damn captivity. Hard as hell.
And the thing about it, like a lot of times, man, like I know a lot of sisters, you grow up and you got this certain way you do things, and you do it like this, and I've done it like this. But if you got a man, it's and you under him, it doesn't matter how you do it. If he say, okay, I want it done like this, that's how you should do it. Like he said it, because they like, okay, I understand that what you do, but this is what I ask. You don't help me where I don't need help. Help me where I need help. The man don't need help. He ain't worried about that. Leave that go. Okay, what do you need?
That's right.
That's what keeps it. Okay, now I'm doing what he's asking, instead of just I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do and how I want to do it. And if he don't like it,
oh well.
Yeah. So
that's what
see, but you know, just like when you're dealing in that. So if the man's out of order, who you think gonna step in? Because it's order. The Most High, Christ, men, then woman. So if the woman step out of order, the man's supposed to step in. So if the man's out of order, who you think steps in on the man?
That's right.
Yeah.
So the women got to understand, like, you do what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Y'all must forget who our head was. Our head don't play.
That's right.
Our head don't requit. You know, he ain't gonna requit no sins, man.
And guess what? The perfect example was Sister Abigail, like we just read. Husband was out of order. What is sister stepped up, got in order, and saved their whole household.
And that's when, if you look through the history of our people, that's exactly how it always was. When our men, like when you talk about what's her name? Deborah and all of them. Only time they was leader, they had to be, because
that's right.
These men, he's scared to go do what he's supposed to be doing. He ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. They have no choice but to step up. So it's times when it's like that. That's when one be like, look, I'm gonna stay in this truth and continue doing what this law, statutes, commandment. If you get out of line, let the Most High correct you, because that who's over the Most High? Yahweh Shah.
That's right.
Who's over? I mean, who's over the man? Yahweh Shah is over the man. So who's gonna have, just like the man bring correction to the woman, Yahweh Shah bring correction to the man. If he out of order, yes. Guess who he gonna have to deal with? I know y'all don't see it, you don't think it's happening, but guess what? Yahweh Shah gonna he gonna, even the man don't think until that goddamn belt hit across his butt. Ow,
then, but guess what happened there behind that? Guess what? That man gonna need that wrist when your house shot steps in. He gonna need that pillow wrist when your house shot steps in.
He gonna be looking for you then. Hey, go ahead now, come back. Yeah, you gonna look for it then, because when you out of line, hey, that whooping coming on, y'all. Man, some of our men don't think that.
But it do.
It's coming.
And to touch back on Genesis 3:16, the woman's desire should be to her husband. That's heavy. A woman's desire is really to seek, man, I want this king to win. I want this king to succeed in his life that I know is so hard for him to do. Women's desires, they're what? Women. They desires of themselves. What they doing? All these plastic surgeries and things. I want to make myself look like this. I want to look like this. This is fine for self. But the desire that the woman should have is to be for that man. Women are not desiring their husband. They're desiring themselves. They want to be seen. They want to do all this for themselves. But back in the day, women really desired, guess what? If my husband winning, guess what?
Mhm.
We win.
That's right.
If my husband straight, guess what? We straight. So we got to get back to that. That's it. That's little things in the scripture that we miss on. The woman's desire should be her husband. That's right. Desire, you know what desire means? Everything you want for. If you want it so bad, you start to want it for him even more than yourself. Knowing that he's the head. Knowing if the head get it right, then the tail, guess what, gonna follow right after, man.
And that's the struggle we know sisters go through. That's that spiritual versus that flesh. Like, dang, I do it, but I ain't gonna do it 100%. No, sister, you should do it 100%.
Yeah, and the thing about it, you should be desiring to do what your husband likes anyway. Because a lot of times, I noticed when I was saying that a lot of times, a lot of women dress for other women. Because the men be like, man, that's ugly. I remember y'all should have the thing, the style of them shoes, which the heel used to hang off the back of the heel, like the shoes didn't fit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that style was, but that
They probably
they walk around with their heel up, and I'll be like, and I see men all the time. Well, that shoe's too small. I used to say it all the time. No, none of them liked it. And I remember I told the woman, that is the ugliest thing I ever seen. Why do you do that? And she was like, this is good. I'm like, but all the men don't like it. And I'm like, so how's that good to y'all when the men saying that's ugly? So that means that let me know y'all ain't doing this for the men. Y'all doing it to please other women. And I noticed that, but we're supposed to be doing those things to please the man. That's who you should be trying to get anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right, though.
Travel, hair, makeup, shopping, cake, family, come on. Give it to me. Don't hide it.
500,000.
All right.
So she want her man to make 500,000, which is not realistic in
Very
today's
little.
time.
That's the 1%.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, if you're talking all races, I would think,
I just said what percentage of men earn?
maybe like, what, 7% or something?
One.
No, 1%.
1% of men make 500.
1%?
I mean, you're hard. I mean, I'm saying, I have to break this thing. I don't know why living in Texas, you should have to put this. 3% earn around 300,000 more. 500,000 on top, 1% of all men. But guess what? Men don't go and do what they have to do to become those kind of men. And what age do you think those men are when they're earning it?
40s.
Right. And what do men want who fought in corporate America or fought in the work world for 20 plus years? They want kids and a legacy.
True. But I do want kids now. That was my path.
But that's just,
But she said now. But she said now. I do want kids now. And the thing is like, I feel like when you're a woman, I mean, wants children or loves children, he, know what I'm saying, but I just kind of feel like if you're,
No, I'm saying I would probably want to bring you be renting out here. So I get approached by like threes who are
I'm talking about the men you
and
dated. We're talking about the guys you came in.
those were guys I dated years ago.
Yeah, well, these are the guys when you came to the door, we said, here's the issue. The guys I'm dealing with are insecure, they don't want this, they don't want that. And it doesn't surprise me if you're not dating a man who is thinking about family, legacy, and anything else. It makes sense to me.
Where are they at? Where are they?
Well, they're wrong. They just want women who are not moving like you move.
That's right.
There we go.
I mean, you're moving like a modern woman. You give off the energy of, hey, if I were not to have kids, I'd just be cool with it. Let's travel, let's trip, and that's fine. But those men tend to already have children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the brother's doing. He's
Like
giving
they've
her
been married.
counsel, good advice. Like, sis, if you want a good husband, guess what? You're going to have to get yourself in order for a good husband. But it's a point that I want out of this.
Because the question I'm asking that you have to put thought into is not asking where are the men. The question is, where are the men that you want, what do they want?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you ladies never seem to answer.
That's right.
Are you a Christian?
That's true. It is.
Raised.
Well, the old scripture was, he who findeth the wife findeth the thing. The presupposition is that you are
So
a
even
wife.
the brother quoted that thing. Any brother know what that scripture is?
Psalms 31.
31. Proverbs 18 and 22. Let's go there. So even like the brother was saying, he's telling us. Then we're gonna go with the precept. Sirach 36. Proverbs 18:22.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 22. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
Read that again.
Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
So brothers out here finding wives, guess what? That is a good thing, man. Read on.
And obtaineth favor of the Lord.
Not only is it a good thing, but guess what? You're obtaining favor for the Most High God, because guess what? Sisters mass produce our nation on a grand scale. So we need sisters to, guess what? Help populate the nation. The men plant the seed in the sister bring forth the child.
And then
Read that again.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 22. Whoso findeth a wife.
No, whoso find a husband.
Whoso findeth a wife.
No, it said husband. You got to say husband on there.
Whoso findeth a wife.
It said whoso findeth a wife. So who's that pertaining to? A man got to find a wife. So because a woman can't find a wife.
Uh-huh.
Or husband.
That ain't her job to be looking.
That ain't her job. You don't look. It ain't your job to be looking.
But your job is to prepare yourself to be a wife.
That ain't your job. Your job is to keep the commandments. Oh, guess what? The Most High God gonna bring you what's good for you. He gonna bring you what's good for you. You ain't got to. I'm gonna make myself. Guess what, man? Hey, Most High God. Hey, when He bring it to you, you will know.
Because I'm gonna tell you, a lot of times, like I'm gonna get you back in there. I just say this real quick. A lot of times when brothers and sisters go outside that order, and you gonna get what you're looking for. A lot of times, guess what? It ain't what you thought it was gonna be either. When you're doing it outside that order, go ahead.
And it said, "Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing." And the thing about that is, if you want to be a wife, you should be preparing yourself to be a wife. And you're talking about He gonna find you. If you run around doing everything else, then I'm gonna be a wife at the last second. He ain't gonna find you. You gonna find a wicked nigga. Those everywhere. And He said, "Whoso findeth a wife," meaning these, when you gotta look for something, there's women everywhere. If you gotta look for something, that means a wife is not easy to find. If I gotta go and search and look up and turn up rocks to find a wife, so that means a woman has to be a wife. So when he see it, he can recognize. This is not like those other women in the world. This is a wife. The rest of them, I done looked up and turned that rock. That wasn't nothing.
The rest of them
But
jump
then
off.
when I see a wife, I found something. And see, that's when a man find a wife. See, he ain't gonna wait. He ain't gonna be engaged 5, 6, 7 years. He finna be like, hey, we need to get married immediately, because they see something that's not in the world. That's not looking like everybody else. That's all I got on that.
Go ahead, Captain Jerubbaal.
But like you say, but the thing is, a man got to be of good understanding when he finds a wife. A brother that's newly in the truth. This is what we was explaining to the other day. A brother that's newly in the truth, a babe in the truth. Why do you think you're gonna come straight in and find your wife and you're a babe in the truth? That's crazy. She's trying to ask you for precepts and now you can't even build her up. Because you don't know where to go. Now she looking at you like, well, I thought you were supposed to be. The Bible said I'm supposed to be asking my husband at home. He don't know how to build you up. So as a man, even a man that's coming and they bringing their wives in the truth. A man's supposed to be teaching his wife at home, man. And when a man is not doing those things, and then we're expecting y'all women to be in order, that's out of order for a man.
Hey, boy, I'm glad that you brought
That's
that
out of
up.
order.
That is, man. I'm glad that I brought it up because, like I said, just to reiterate that, I'm glad I said that brothers do have to teach their wives. Sisters, you have to be submissive, ready to learn from that husband. Because I know sometimes you in there teaching, hey, sisters trying to come at you with the scriptures and so forth. Sisters just have a submissive mind to listen.
And that's one of the mistakes I was making in my marriage right now, because that's what I was doing. I would be studying at work, and I'd be sitting there, I'm an inspector, so I sit at work all day. So I would do a whole lot of studying at work. And then at the house, I noticed, like, she probably read here and there or listen to other people. And I'd be waiting for the questions to come out. And then I had to be correct to my, you know what? I need to be going through this Bible with her, even though, and the woman, what am I doing wrong? And that's when you start going back, okay, correct yourself and start getting the things right. That way, now when y'all come together, you'll be on the same page.
That's right. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great point. Mr. Rock, 27-3. Jerubbaal said it, man. Brothers, it's not gonna prosper with us either. We're not in order, all right. Setting ourselves all right. If we don't get our house in order, the house ain't gonna never be in order. And start by being in order with us, right? Because we head off the order of the house. You know, not superseding Christ or the Most High. You know, but we have to get that thing in order. It won't work, man. Read it.
The book of Sirach, chapter 27, verse 3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord.
Unless a man be diligent in fearing the Most High, which what? Keeping the commandments. Unless you doing what you're supposed to do, read.
His house shall soon be overthrown.
Sooner or later, the house, it ain't gonna be no house. The house ain't gonna be no home, man. It's not gonna go right for you. You want to find your wife, but you're not in order. You're not diligent. You're not coming every day. You're not keeping the laws every day. You're not reading your scriptures every day. That house soul is gonna be overthrown by what? By a monstrous woman, man. And then you're gonna have your chaos. Mm-hmm. If you're not in order, like Abigail said, dang, he should be teaching me. You're not teaching him. Dang, he can't do this, he can't. Then it's gonna become questions. And the questions gonna become problems. And then in that house gonna be soon overthrown. Read it one more time.
Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown.
The house will soon be overthrown, and that marriage will soon be overthrown.
That's right.
Read verse 4 right quick.
Verse 4. As when one sifted it with a sieve.
And you know what a sieve is? The thing that you use to sift out flour. Read.
The refuse remaining.
He said the refuse remaining. This is the part that we want to refuse remaining. Because when a person refuses to do that, guess what? It's gonna be tried. You're gonna get tried in that area. And you're gonna be sifted in that area, man. Read.
So the filth of a man in his talk.
And like the first part of the scripture is what I wanted out of. It said one that sifted in with a seed and refused remaining. This is what happened, man. When, like you say, when the brother's not diligent and he got the fear of the Lord in it, the overthrow will become. Why would you be overthrown? Because guess what? The trial gonna come. You don't know how long your test trial gonna be. The trial gonna be there though. Go ahead.
Let's go to Sirach chapter 25 and verse 13. Let's say these are chapters, sisters and brothers, husbands and wives, single sisters, single brothers. Hey, all need to be reading these things. Sirach 25 and verse 13. Read that out.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 13. Give me any plague, but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness, but the wickedness of a woman.
So he said, give me any plague, but the plague of the heart, meaning the sorrow of mind. He said, give me any wickedness, but the wickedness of a woman. These things that, guess what, sisters have to look out for, because sisters can be wicked. I know a lot of times sisters reading the scriptures on wicked sisters. Hey, all Israel was wicked, but we know that the Most High really be getting on sisters, because we know that, guess what, they have fell a long way, And it takes a lot to put these things back into. Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked
He
woman.
said, I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked one. These are things that, guess what, sisters got to check in their spirit. If you're dealing in this type of spirit, it's probably why you can't find a husband. You know, so you want to correct these things, even with married sisters, while the relationship is rocky, the marriage is rocky. You have to check your spirit, your countenance. Read on.
The wickedness of a woman changes her face.
It says the wickedness of a woman changes her face. Meaning you can see the wickedness protruding off a sister, boy. You can, hey, I'm going this way. Read on up.
And darkeneth her countenance.
And they get that darkened countenance. It ain't just because of them cigarettes. No. That's because it's that wickedness. It ain't because of them black and mouths or that weed. That's because of wickedness that's inside you that's coming out through your pores.
It ain't eat sugar.
Go
And the
ahead.
thing about it, that's what he said. That's one thing women got to accept. Y'all would have made a weaker vessel. And you got to accept that. That's when you start getting stronger. Okay, I'm a weaker vessel. So that means you got to look who would have. The Adam was already there. The devil didn't even think to mess with him. But as soon as he made that woman, here he pops up. Okay, I got a place to go now. I can get it through him, but this one I can go in what's name. But we got to accept who made us. He created us. The only thing we can tell, if he take this is who I made y'all like this. We got to be like, okay, so how do I get strong? Okay, I'm going to get my husband and we'll be strong together. You see what I'm saying? And that's what we got to accept those things. If you don't have a husband, well, okay, get around the men of the Most High. If your father ain't alive, get around the men of the Most High. Say, hey, okay, they're my protection right now until I find my husband. And that's how we have to do it. And that's a lot of times women don't want to accept the fact that the Bible say you are weak. Now I ain't weak. Because that's why you think the white man came out with y'all strong black women. He did that on purpose. I got to look at the wiles of the devil. You got to look at what he's planning.
Read verse 18.
Verse 18. Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heard it shall sigh bitterly.
So the husband get around his friends, and you know, because guess what? Sister got a bad reputation. Dang, man, I had to come out, man, get away for a little while, man. We got a line up in the house. Yeah, I got a dragon up in the house, man. Just had to come out and get away, man, just for a little bit. These are things that, guess what, sisters got to understand. You want to be a sister that has a good reputation for good things. That's why, like we say, sisters got examples in the Bible. Give me Judah chapter 8 and verse 8. Sisters got sisters in the Bible. You got Sister Judah. You got Esther. You got Sister Susanna. These are books that sisters, and we go over these scriptures all the time. These are the books that sisters need to be reading and try to be like. Read this out.
The book of Judah, chapter 8, verse 8. And there was none that gave her an ill word.
Going into who? Judah. There was none that gave her an ill word. Meaning what? Sister always was in order. In the Apocrypha.
Even after her husband passed, she still was in order.
In the Apocrypha bit.
Her husband passed and she still was in order.
That's right. Read that again from the top.
Judah chapter 8, verse 8. And there was none that gave her an ill word.
So nobody gave Sister Judith an ill word, meaning what? She had a good reputation throughout the congregation. Yes, you know, Sister Judith, yeah, that sister's great. Sister always helping around, always in a cheerful spirit, willing to help anybody out that always needed. Read on.
For she feared God greatly.
For she feared God greatly. So guess what? She had an a good name because she kept the commandments. Meaning, guess what? I'm going to keep my name clear from mess that be going around in the congregation. I'm going to stay over here. If they doing that, I'm coming over here. Keep my name and my reputation clear. Give me Susanna chapter 1, verse 27.
Repeat the verse again. Susanna chapter
Susanna,
1, verse
1 verse 27.
Verse 27. The book of Susanna, chapter 1, verse 27. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Susanna.
Read that again. Susanna's brothers got it. Page what? Yes. This is a good read, man. This right here, brothers got to get in there and read these. Sisters got to get in there and read this, because the story takes place with our foremother Susanna. Sister had a great reputation. Sister was very beautiful, just like all of our sisters are. And these two men, when you read in there, they lusted after her badly. Elders, older brothers, they lusted after the sister badly, and they was thinking of trying to take sister and abuse sister, meaning rape her. They was thinking of ways to do these things, man. So these brothers was wicked as hell. So it didn't go through, but then they did what? They brought up an ill name against this sister. But then that thing wouldn't have went forward, because guess what? No, I know Susanna's sister be sister always in the spirit. That ain't sister spirit. Read verse 31 again.
Verse 27?
I mean,
The
31.
book of 31?
Yeah.
The book of Susanna, verse 31. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman and beauteous to behold.
And she was very, very beautiful. Now read 27.
Verse 27. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed. For there was never such a report made of Susanna.
So they was ashamed, because guess what? It was never anything bad that had to be said about Susanna. So they knew that, guess what? Sister didn't deal in that. Some sisters, now guess what? You got to hear the whole matter. That don't negate that. But you know, a lot of times, sometimes brothers, hey, sometimes you looking like, damn, your history, like, she might be susceptible to that. But if you had a good reputation, they wouldn't even have those thoughts in their head. That's the point.
That's how they do in America today anyway. If you can be innocent, but they're gonna make you guilty because of your past. You done, they use whatever you did. Well, he did this and they did that and they did that. So they gotta be guilty right here. But if you don't got nothing on your slate, they can't pull nothing on you. They be like, hey, the only thing we can pull out everything good. So that'll leave a lot of stress that's coming at you, or anything that's coming at you, because you keep yourself clean.
That's right.
And they also should give brothers and sisters kind of better understanding on how counsel goes too. When you see a sister of good report and somebody can come bring a report about them, then you be like, no, they don't match that sister. They don't match what that sister do, or they don't match what their brother do. But if a brother is always talking and he always not diligent as the scripture say he's supposed to be, guess what? Then that report come in, guess what? And he or she has to be brought up on counsel. That should let you know on how counsel goes.
Or sisters, guess what? Known, got a reputation for running that mouth, not a good attitude, don't play well with others. These are things that brothers and sisters have to weigh in the balance. Because guess what? These are attributes or characteristics that, guess what? Men look at. Well, look at, guess what? Because you want to have a wife that's, guess what? Good, doing good works in the congregation, that play well with others. Susanna 1 verse 27 precepts with what? Judah 8 and 8. So y'all put that down. Let's go back to Sirach and go to Susanna and put the vice versa. Let's go back to Sirach chapter 25 though. 25 and verse 19.
And it also goes on righteous judgment, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that sister's life was in the hands of the judgment that they brought her up on.
That's right.
So it's very crucial that we give righteous judgment in every situation. Because back then, among 2 or 3 witnesses, right?
That's right. Yep. And that's what made it.
And those witnesses could have got that sister put to death, man.
Yep.
But like you said, because of her actions, because of her former past and how she carried herself, they couldn't believe that report, and they found the truth. You know what I'm saying? It was later found to be the 2 wicked elders, man.
That's right. Read that out.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 19.
Bring it out.
All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her.
All wickedness is but too little to the wickedness of a woman. Because we know sisters dealing in that type of spirit, sisters go way out. You know that old saying, there's nothing like a what? A woman scorned. Because we know sisters got that spirit, hey, they'll take that thing to the 10th, to the 12th hour, boy, and beyond. Read on.
As the climbing up a sandy way is to the foot of the age.
As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the age, meaning what? It's hard to climb up a sandy mountain. You grab one, hey, you slip down. Read on.
So is a wife full of words to a quiet man.
So is the wife full of words to a quiet man. You know your husband don't talk a lot, hey, and you do, so you got to know the times when to talk to your husband. Because guess what? Thy desire shall be to thy husband. Hey, find you, hey, pray to the Most High God, he send you a quiet husband or a husband that like to talk. These are things that, guess what, you want to pray for. Pray to the Most High God, send you somebody that, guess what, is right in the spirit. Read on, though.
Stumble not at the beauty of a woman.
This is one thing that brothers get caught up in. We don't stumble at the beauty of a woman. Like I say, you'd rather have that, what's her name? Sealy up in that house, but as long as you got a peace of mind up in that thing, boy, you'll take 10 Sealies over one terrible Haley Berry. To get that peace of mind up in there. Hey, boy, this is the most beautiful woman in the world, boy. Come here, baby. Come on. We walking down the hand. Hey, look. Hey, this is my wife. I love her. This woman is good to me, like Ray Charles. Better not say nothing bad about my wife. And we're saying a fight come with it. Shoot, you probably gonna be having to fight every day though, boy. But hey, it is what it is.
Because guess what, man? I'm telling you how brothers look at they give you y'all laughing. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's really kind of funny, but on for real. Well, when Mister was running out the house and everything, she ain't say nothing.
He knew.
Shoes, tie. She had him picked. She knew him. She had him to the T. He just didn't respect it. But guess what? She knew him. Well, man, look here. Well, brothers, I don't know how brothers pray for a wife or how they want their wife to be. Boy, to me, but I almost have the tears coming down.
But brothers go run and grab Sugar Gabriel, man.
They want Sugar Gabriel, man.
Made a plate. She tucking the plate back at you. Type of, oh, she pretty. Nah, she at the club every night. At the juke joint every night. You can't find her. She all in men face.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the one brother be like, oh, I want to. Then you just going through some misery when you talking about that. But now, they're like he said, man, give me the guy doing give me the seat.
Hey, there's gonna be some misery. Hey, like Martin. Hey, boy, you gonna catch that up? Boy.
Except for that part of the seat.
That's when a woman fed up.
That's the aftermath. She's done had enough, boy.
He ain't worth it, man. God fight for you.
Read verse 21 again.
Stumble not at the beauty of a woman.
So don't stumble at the beauty of a woman. Read on.
And desire her not for pleasure.
And desire her not for pleasure. Only thing that you looking for, lusting. Because guess what? There's nothing wrong with having a beautiful sister, but you want her mind to be even more beautiful. Give me Esther chapter 2, verse 7. In the Bible. Because our sisters, like they are today, our sisters are very, very beautiful. The most beautiful on the planet. You know. And like we say, that shouldn't be the only thing that they should be desired for. Esther chapter 2 and verse 7.
The book of Esther chapter 2 verse 7. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, but she had neither father nor mother.
So her father and her mother died. This is going into who? Mordecai. Read on.
And the maid was fair and beautiful.
And she was very fair and very beautiful. Read on.
Whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took to like took for his own daughter.
So she was very, very beautiful. Like how when you read throughout all the scriptures showing how foremothers and sisters was. Give me Judith, chapter 8 and verse 7. Go ahead, all right.
And now y'all notice she didn't have father nor mother. Who took in? The uncle. There was always a man over a woman, the same order no matter what. Even if it ain't a husband, it's the father. If it ain't a father, then you need to go to the elders of the school or church or wherever you're going to, and they should be there for you as the man. A woman always had to have a head over her, which is a man. That's where the order is. And our women done got to the point where we don't need no man. I don't need no man. Because now you got what? Grandmothers raising, you got the grandmother, got the daughter, the child, the other one and the other one. It ain't the man, no man around. So then now you got a line of women growing up with no husband in the household.
Right. Judith chapter 8, verse 7. Read that
The
out.
book of Judah, chapter 8, verse 7. She was also of a goodly countenance.
So she had a goodly countenance, meaning she had a good spirit. Read on.
And very beautiful to behold.
And Judah was very, very beautiful to behold. A lot of times, like we say, sisters using their beauty for money. These sisters, they use their beauty to benefit their nation, because the Most High God ultimately used them to take down the nation that was bringing us harm and so forth. When you read these stories, these are good reads for sisters, man, to show, because today sisters role models are who? Cardi B, Beyonce, other, Lizzo.
And you know, just like with Cardi B and Beyonce, they tell you to say all this, but guess what? They got their husbands.
They got a husband. They do.
And like Beyonce, the queen bee. But guess what? She do whatever Jay-Z say doing, that's what she finna be doing. That's what she finna go. But she telling y'all, be independent, all this other stuff, because that's a tactic. But she ain't gonna be independent. She ain't independent. So why she telling y'all?
And then if you look, she call herself the queen bee, just thinking that in that aspect. Do anybody know what the queen bee do? Have sex with all the men. And lay babies. That's what they lay millions of babies.
That's what queen come from. That's why we don't have queens in Israel. That's what the queen Kwan. That's where it comes from. It means whore.
So don't yes. So we should be calling herself, I'm a beautiful black queen. Yeah. I hope you're not one of them. That's why we got princes. We don't have queens in our nation, man. Go ahead.
Read on. I'll read that again from the top.
The book of Judah, chapter 8, verse 7. She was also of a goodly countenance, and very beautiful to behold. And her husband Manasseh had left her gold and silver, and manservants, and maidservants, and cattle, and land, and she remained upon them.
And guess what? Her husband took care of her. Even when he died, he left her well off. So she continued that legacy. Guess what? Judah, when you read, sister fasted all the days of her life except for on the feast days. Mm-hmm. You know, these are some sisters got to be in there fasting, constantly, diligently, constantly reading the scriptures. It shouldn't be a time where you're not reading the Bible. You know, these, like I say, keep reiterating these things. These things help build up your spirit. Give me Sirach chapter 26 and verse 1.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 1. Blessed is the man that has a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double.
Shall be what?
Shall be double.
Meaning, guess what? He'll have a good life. Because guess what? It's less stuff that you got to deal with up in the house. We already have enough to deal with our people out here on the streets. We don't want to come home and then deal with more stuff, unnecessary stuff. Because it's not that it's not going to be problems. Because even according to Ephesians 5, it tells you marriage is a mystery. So meaning, guess what? You may have disagreements, but guess what? Brothers and sisters should know their place to, guess what, be able to dissolve that in a holy way. It shouldn't be in our tossing over tables, ready to square up with one another. No, it should never come to that, man. Sister's got the resort, or sister got the little switch babe, in a little pocket. She ready to cut. Like Seal, I don't know why I still got that on there, man. But you always want to handle these things according to the law. And that's what a woman of understanding, she'll be able to, guess what, catch herself when she's slipping with her tongue.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why Sirach 26:1 is saying this. Do any brother know why it's saying it? Read Sirach 26:1 again.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 1. Blessed is the man that has a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double.
He said the number of his days shall be double. Let's go to Proverbs 31 and verse 11. Now we already know Proverbs 31:10 said, "Who can find a virtuous wife?" Verse 11 is the part that we need to get the best understanding of first how a virtuous wife is to get an understanding.
That's just for the boy.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 11.
Read.
The heart of her husband goes safely, trust in her.
Read that again.
The heart of her husband goes safely, trust in her.
So a lot of people thinking, they wives thinking that they virtuous women. Do your husband safely trust in you? If he don't safely trust in you, you're not a virtuous woman.
Yeah.
That's the first step of a virtuous woman. Your wife, your husband safely trusting you. So that's why Sirach 26 saying what it's saying. It said, "Blessed the man that had a virtuous wife." Well, that's a blessing that you can have a wife that you can safely trust in. You ain't worried about the talk, her speech. You ain't worried about her getting out of line with other men. You ain't worried about you always know she's gonna be always in order. She got the house under control. She maintains her husband. She maintains herself. She bringing stuff to the table. She help provide them for the household. Man, look, her husband safely trusting her. Man, just think about how a man can. It didn't say partially. It said safely trust in her.
And that means when she speaks, it'll be just like the husband just spoke. It'll be the same stuff that he gonna say. And drop down to 23.
Hold on, I want some more of it. Verse 11.
The heart of her husband goes safely, trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil.
He should have no need of spoil. Silly, shoes, tie, no need of spoil. You know him. You know him to the T, to the point. You ain't got to say nothing. I already know your needs. I got you. He's like, well, baby, I need this. It's right, already done. Well, baby, I need this. It's already done. Well, I need this. Already done. He's like, damn. Because guess what? That's a blessing to that man because you already fulfilling those things. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a lot of things. Go to 23 because a lot of times our women love to say that. I'm a virtuous woman. Like, have you read what a virtuous woman do? That's something to strive to be. But to say I'm there, because the man is supposed to go ahead. Like he just brought out that. Now go ahead.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 23. Her husband is known in the gates.
See, when a husband come around the congregation, they be like, shoot. They already see she a virtuous woman to that man. Because it's seen, it's visible. She does, man, she bam. When she speaks, it sounds like him. Because they become one. That's when you become one. That's what a virtuous woman do. She gonna line up with the man that she has. Go ahead.
When he sitteth among the elders of the land.
The elders like, man, they already know his wife. Yeah, she virtuous with that. She's a virtuous woman. That's the striving we want to get. We love to say it all the time. I'm virtuous. I heard that when I first got in the truth. Everybody in the truth was a virtuous woman. Real. Until you start knowing of it like that. Ain't no virtuous. That is not. Hold on, let me read that again. No, you ain't doing this, or that, or this, or that, or that. And that's when you hear these scriptures about virtuous. Learn what a virtuous woman is. And then strive to be that. Don't say I am if you're not that yet. Good, that's all I got.
Let's go back to Sirach chapter 26 and verse 1 again. So y'all make sure y'all precept Sirach 26 with what? Proverbs 31. And vice versa.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 1. Blessed is the man that has a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double. A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband.
And a virtuous woman rejoices her husband. guess what? Helping him. Basically what? Cheering him on. Read on.
And he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace.
Read on.
A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord. Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart toward the Lord, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. There'll be three things that mine heart feareth.
Jump down to verse. Jump down to verse 13.
Verse 13. The grace of a wife delighted her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones.
And her discretion, meaning what? Knowing when to do something, when not to do something. That's something that sisters got to learn to apply to their lives, man. But I know a lot of times you see it slipping with their tongue, catching herself. These are things that sisters have to pray that the Most High God put the Spirit on you to guess what? Apply in your life. Read on.
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord.
Read on.
And there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
What we read earlier. Read on.
A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace.
A shamefaced, meaning what? You're not seeking out attention from everybody, especially from other men. That's a double grace of the Most High God. The Most High God loves a solid and loving woman, shamefaced, not trying to seek too much attention, not trying to be the it girl, the everybody look at me girl. Read on.
And her continent mind cannot be valued.
And that thing cannot be, it cannot be valued. Read on.
As the sun, when it arises in the high heaven, so is the brood of a good wife in the ordering of her house.
So you want to have beauty with the good wife, with the ordering of the house. You want to have all those things. You just don't want the beauty. Give me Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 30. Oh, it's a precept. We'll come right back.
The book of Proverbs chapter 31 verse 30. Favor is deceitful.
So favor is deceitful. The Most High God gives that thing out at times. Read it from the top again up.
Favor is deceitful. And beauty is vain.
Beauty is vain, sisters, brothers. Read on.
But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised.
But guess what? When a woman is praising and worshiping the Most High God, staying in order, that thing within itself is beauty. Let's go back. Sirach chapter 26. Don't want to get to, give me verse 23.
23. The book of Sirach chapter 26 verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
Read that again.
A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
So you got wickedness within your wife. That's what there's some wickedness up in that husband. A portion. It didn't say all of the Negro was wicked, but it did say what? A portion. So that's something brothers got to understand too. You're constantly having problems. Sometimes you have to check your spirit too. Like you say, am I guiding her the right way? Am I teaching her the right way? What is this? What is that? These are things that, guess what, brothers got to come to terms with too. Because it's not all on the system like we have been going through. These are things that, guess what? It's a just balance, just like Captain Jerubbaal said. Y'all got something? Read on.
But a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord.
But a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. So it's a beautiful thing that we can be able to show our people that, guess what real marriage is according to the Bible. Man, that thing is a beautiful thing, man. It's nothing like it. You know, we have many sisters. You got Sister Abigail, you got Sister Esther, Judith, Susanna, Elizabeth, Deborah, Priscilla. All these sisters were righteous sisters, man. Were righteous sisters and very beautiful. So guess what? They had both qualities, man. These are things that, guess what, brothers and sisters got to adhere to, man. Give me 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. Get the last precept. You got something else out? You know, we can have this class all day, boy.
You could have just read that off.
Yeah, you could have. I started to. But you know, boy, we be precept upon precept, boy.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. These things command and teach. Let no man despise thy youth.
Read that again from the top, though.
Let no man despise thy youth.
Read start from verse 11.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. These things command and teach.
It says, these things command and teach. Read on.
Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers.
It's our job, brothers and sisters, especially young sisters, as y'all training up y'all daughters. These are the things that, guess what, help raise the next righteous sisters in order. Y'all have to be that example. Daughters, they're watching everything y'all say. They're watching everything that y'all do. You have to be able to instruct them even as far as being on the media sites. Y'all have to monitor those things, man, because that's what's teaching our sisters on how to act the way they do, on how to twerk, on how to do this, how to run their mouth. You even seen it with the show. I know they had pulled it up in there with the brother that used to hoop and his mama, to Tanya, what's her name? Got the, am I saying it right? I know y'all probably don't know the brother that hoop, but the sister is a singer, and she had a Iman Shepherd, thanks, and his wife Tiana. They got a clip with them on their daughter and they real live house moment where the daughter was saying, "Mama, put his butt out the house." You're looking at it. This brother is tall and a big brother. 6'5", 6'6", got this little sister that's out of order, and he laughing thinking that is cute. Man, that is not cute, man. That's not cute at all. That's nothing to play with, because guess what? She's training up that child and raising her in that same role to have that masculine spirit. To guess what? Dominate the men. No. Sisters got to raise us sisters up. Guess what? According to the how it was taught in the scriptures. Matter of fact, you know we got to get that. Give me Titus chapter 2, verse 3. No, we got to constantly go over that thing.
The book of Titus chapter 2, verse 3. The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things.
So sisters should be what? Teachers of good things. And you want to know, guess what? It's not talking about sisters of certain authority over a congregation. No, this is talking about sisters, guess what? Teaching their children, teaching their young daughters. Read on. Teaching their younger sisters.
Verse 4. That they may teach the young women to be sober.
That they may teach the younger women. You teach what? Two ways: word of mouth and by your actions. Read on.
To love their husbands.
Sisters have to be taught that thing, because our generation, they don't know how to do that. They don't know how to love their husbands according to the law. Going back to what? Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. And these are the scriptures that sisters got to put forth to sisters. Go ahead, up.
And that's a true statement, because a lot of times, just like the men, we got to show the men how to be men according to the Bible. The sisters got to do the same thing, because a lot of sisters don't know how to. These sisters don't know how to. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean up. These younger sisters don't know how to do. They don't know how to do nothing. Just like a lot of these younger men, they don't know how to change the tires. They don't know how to keep their house in order. They got to be taught these things, man. And if the women of the Most High, just like the men of the Most High, got to teach the youth. The women of the Most High got to teach the youth too, to make sure that they doing their thing according to thus said the Lord, man, to keep our nation going. It ain't just for your household; it's for your nation, man, to be a light to the world, man.
Yeah. And with that being said, that's the thing we got to do. We all got to get back in order. Men got to go back to being men, when we was able to fix stuff at the house. We ain't got to call somebody to do this thing. And the older men got to teach the younger men, this is what we do, this is how we done. Because I know when I grew up, that's how I grew up, with a father that did those things. And the women, that's the thing about it. They would these women that did those things. But man, the world done taught us, all y'all women, y'all independent, and you men, y'all run around the whole round. So we all got to get back into it as a nation of people, period.
We don't know.
And women.
That's right.
To love their children. Verse 5. To be discreet.
Know when to talk, when not to talk. Read on.
Chastity.
chaste, not opening up your legs to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Read on.
Keep us at home.
Keep us at home because sisters love to run the streets. They love to run them streets. Read on up.
Good. Obedient to their own husbands.
Good, obedient to their own husbands. Because guess what? Wives will do everything that Esau said at the job and then come home won't do nothing that the husband asks. These are things that's, hey, sisters got to check that spirit, man. Read on.
That the word of God be not blasphemed.
That God's word is not blasphemed among y'all and among us. Like we say, it's not just for the sisters, hey, also for brothers too. These are scriptures that brothers need to know in order to teach and guide their wives, or brothers that's up and coming looking for wives and so forth. Let's go back to that 1 Timothy 4:11. Read that out.
Book of 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. These things command and teach. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers.
It's our job to be examples. Read on.
In word.
In word, sisters. Read on.
In
The
conversation.
things that y'all talk about. Because I know sometimes conversations can get ratchet as hell. But hey, y'all got to know who y'all around talking like that. Sometimes we have worldly conversation. But guess what? You want to make sure that your godly conversation is outweighing your worldly conversation.
Right.
Read on up.
In charity.
In charity, meaning love. Read on.
In spirit.
In spirit. Read on.
In faith. In purity.
And in purity, brothers and sisters. And with that, I'm going to say shalom. Thank you for brothers and sisters that's tuning in for the videos. Help us push this truth, man. Help share the videos. We got Feast of Tabernacles coming up. It's the start of it tomorrow. We'll be up here. All praise to the Most High God. But you know, we'll be going out to the field this Friday. Brothers and sisters, y'all need to be preparing yourselves to keep these high holy days, man. Brothers got to make the proper arrangements. Stop giving excuses. Sisters, stop giving excuses. Guess what? This is rehearsal time. When Christ comes, guess what? It's no more rehearsal, man. So how you gonna get things right if you ain't been practicing these things, man? That's just some brothers and sisters got to meditate on. We always tell brothers and sisters to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. We'll go to one of the knowns. Give me Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4. Because we want to put biblical marriage back in our nation among so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We want to put that thing back and do it God's way and not the modern's way or the world's way. We want that thing to resonate and marinate on your brain, brothers and sisters, man.
The book of Hebrews. The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all.
So marriage, getting married, that is an honorable thing, man. Don't let Esau, these other nations, or the trickery of the world say any other thing. We want to, guess what? We want to start changing these things. We want to change that record that, guess what? Our divorce rate that's highest amongst the nation. We want to change these things, man, and we can change these things according to the scriptures. Read that again out from the top.
Marriage is honorable in all.
So it's an honorable thing, brothers and sisters. Read on.
In the bed undefiled.
Because guess what? Whatever brothers and sisters do in their bed, or married brothers and sisters do in their bed, guess what? According to the law, that bed is undefiled. Read on.
But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
But whoremongers, brothers that like to sleep around, sisters that like to sleep around, guess what? You're going to be judged for that thing. The judge is what? STDs. The judgment could be a bullet in the head because you creeping around and so forth. Then the husband come in. So guess what? Brothers have to understand these things. Sisters have to understand these things too. Because guess what? Catch a sister up in there, she'll bust that thing too over her husband. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom. They doing it now more than them.
That's right. Any brothers and sisters got any